Proof for the flat Earth and its gravity. NASA, this video is intended for you to learn the truth about where we live. Please be patient and watch the video until the end without interruption to understand the truth about the Earth and the space around us, because you are speaking the opposite of the truth of where we all live. The Earth, the Moon, the Sun, the planets, and the stars are all completely different in space despite what science says. According to science, the 9 planets revolve around the Sun with their gravity that they have with the Sun. There is talk of planetary gravity, which is the gravitational pushing and pulling force. It's simply just a magnet. Gravity doesn't have a pushing and pulling force more than the planets are in size themselves. Let's take the Earth as an example. There are 215 suns that go inside the distance between the Earth and the Sun. The Earth itself is very far away from the Sun. Gravity would not have the power to hold Earth around the Sun. What about the other 6 planets that are much further from the Sun than the Earth is? How can they have gravity with the Sun? There is something else very interesting the science says. The Sun is a mess of fire and that the planets and the Earth are made up of dirt and rocks. How can the planets and the Earth have gravity with the Sun when the planets and the Earth are made up of rocks, dirt, and the Sun is made up of fire? The formula of fire is to burn everything that is inside of it, whatever it catches, and puts an end to it. The fire releases only light and heat around itself. If the Sun was actually made up of fire, the Sun would have an end. How many functions does gravity have on Earth according to science? The Earth rotates around itself and around the Sun, which holds Earth on one side diagonally, which preserves the Earth from joining the other planets. It holds the Moon close to itself, it holds the water around Earth, and it holds everything that Earth has on its surface, and etc. What kind of gravity is this with all these functions? Gravity has power only with those that are drawn, not with water, plastic, fire, wood, man, etc. Gravity has nothing to do with it because all of the above mentioned are above the flat Earth and are only held by the flat Earth itself. Example of gravity. When we are placed on a mountain, we can only stand on the flat surface of it, not on the sides of it. According to science, in any case that the Earth pulls us or gravity holds us on Earth, but to descend from the slope of the mountain beneath it, we would fall from it. Where we are on a mountain is the same as we are on Earth because the Earth is composed of mountains, hills, and plains. If Earth was actually round. Let's take the mountains of the north as an example. The slope of the mountain is equal to the slope of the Earth and the lower equator to the south. How is it possible that gravity holds us on the lower equator and does not radiate, but meanwhile we radiate from the slope of the mountain? If gravity was the one that held us on Earth, it would have held us on the slope of the mountain as well. The experiment across the mountain where we are exposed proves itself that the Earth is flat and its planes keep us standing. On the side of the mountain, we are diagonal and fall down. NASA. Water and many other things have nothing to do with gravity, because if gravity held man on Earth, we would feel ourselves more compressed. The weight of our bodies itself is what simply holds us on Earth, because we live on a flat Earth. If we throw a stone and a leaf from above, which would fall faster on Earth? Certainly the stone, because it is heavier, right? If the Earth were to pull them, it would have pulled down the leaf faster than the stone because it is lighter. Everything from above falls down on the ground with its weight speed. Imagine Earth without water. Around Earth would not have the position that it has today. Up top north, downward south, and the equator in the middle. Because the Pacific Ocean is as big as half the Earth. This part of the Earth is under the Pacific Ocean and it disturbs the form of Earth, which causes Earth to look similar to a half moon. The weight of the Earth itself on its other side, Asia, Europe, Africa, 3 continents that are above the water level, would have turned Earth into a different position. The North Pole would be in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, the South Pole would be in Africa, and the equator would be in between the South Pole and the North Pole. This is the position the Earth would have, not the one that it actually has today, if Earth was actually round. Gravity experiment on Earth. There are two lands. There are two opposing soils in the video, one round and one flat that prove true gravity. In which Earth would water stand at the same level? In which Earth can we build buildings of the same level? In which Earth can we live as people and everything else that is on the surface of it? I believe that everyone understands the truth of gravity on Earth. High tides and low tides. Science says that the moon with its gravity on Earth pulls water into the Earth towards itself, and the water on Earth becomes oval in shape. As Earth rotates around itself for 24 hours, the moon pulls water towards itself, and this creates low tides and high tides. Science obviously does not understand the dynamics of how low tides and high tides work. If the moon is 4 times smaller than Earth, how is it that the moon can pull the water towards itself with its gravity? If this were a fact, the moon would have pulled us towards itself as well, because this would show that the gravity of the moon would be so much stronger than the gravity of the Earth. As if the moon were as big as Jupiter, the moon would not have pulled the water towards itself, because neither gravity of the moon or Earth have zero connection to the water on Earth. Water simply sits above land. All sciences have their own formulas. An example is 1 plus 1 equals 2. It never will equal 3. This is an accurate formula. Physics too have their own formulas, but if you don't apply them as they are, they block your understanding and confuse you. All the water that a flat Earth has above itself, the water moves up and down up to 5 feet. The moon, closest planet to the Earth. As the moon is rotating around Earth, vertically aligned, it pushes the Earth slightly down as it rotates because of its gravity. The water level rises above land because the water above land needs to be leveled flat. As the moon is rotating around Earth, the levels of the water rises above land exactly where the moon is vertical with Earth, which creates high tides and low tides every 6 hours. The moon itself proves this. When the moon is in the south, the Earth water level rises highest, but when the moon is in the north, the water level rises the lowest, because with a flat Earth, the North Pole is in the middle of our Earth, and the South Pole is in the end of the Earth. Down in the South Pole, the moon lowers the Earth to one side, and water rises higher. This confirms the level of the flowing water from high tides to low tides on a flat Earth. Proof that Earth is flat and its true gravity. The Earth is huge and is made up of 3 elements: dirt, rock, and ice. On the surface of Earth, it is covered with ice. These 3 elements come together to form the giant Earth. As the sun rises above the giant Earth, it melts the ice and it turns into water all the way to Antarctica, and the water levels completely flat on the surface of the Earth. The land that was covered with ice came out above the water and is where we live today. The other part of the Earth that is very large, located in lower Antarctica, the ice remains solid. The moon, the sun, all the planets and stars that our eyes see in space, or millions of planets, are close to one another and orbit the giant Earth. Gravity keeps the planets around the giant Earth connected to one another. The planets orbit the Earth at 1,000 miles per hour. The Earth rotates between the planets at 70 miles per hour. Is gravity the driving force or attraction? Gravity is neither seen, touched, or heard. The strength of gravity goes beyond it all. Beyond wood, plastic, glass, fire, water, humans, animals, and many more like these without destroying them. Only metal can break its strength because gravity on Earth is created from metal. Gravity has a pushing and pulling effect only with its creator. This is the practice of the proof. Gravity has no effect on Earth with any other source because the Earth and the planets are made up of dirt and rock. The rock and dirt itself have many percentages of iron in them. Due to the iron contained in the Earth and the planets, gravity is created. It moves all the planets to orbit the giant Earth. Science should know this well when it comes to gravity's laws and formulas. Science says the gravity is created by the lava of the Earth that is in its interior. Number 1. Who has gone deep inside the Earth to see its lava? Number 2. If lava does not get oxygen or air, it goes out and its strength ends. Number 3. Gravity isn't made up of flames. Flames burn the power of gravity. And number 4. Why does Earth have volcanoes? Do you not think that the Earth has fiery lava inside of it? Never mind this, because if it were a volcano created by lava, the Earth would explode like a giant dynamite in space by the powerful pressure created inside of it. Volcanoes are created different on Earth, but you do not understand it. NASA, not because I say so, but this is the true fact of gravity and the opening of the planets that surround the sky on Earth. The truth that Earth rotates around itself at 70 miles per hour. By plane, from Rome to New York, we take 9 hours. New York to Rome, it's 8 hours. New York to Sydney, Australia is 23 hours. Sydney, Australia to New York is 21 hours, and etc. When we are traveling by plane from the west or from the north, the distance is longer. When we travel from the east or the south, the same journey takes less time. Why does this change of the same distance by plane happen? Earth rotates from west. The Earth has a rotational speed of 70 miles per hour. The plane has a speed of 500 miles per hour. When we get to New York from Rome on a plane traveling from the west to the east of the Earth, Rome approaches the airplane faster because of the Earth's rotation from the west, and it cuts off duration time. We spend 8 hours. When we go from Rome to New York, we travel from east to the west in the same direction as the Earth rotates from the west at 70 miles per hour. New York travels away from the airplane, which adds more hour to duration time and makes it 9 hours. If Earth had a rotational speed of 1,000 miles per hour and a jet had a speed of 500 miles per hour, how would the aircraft be able to leave the Earth behind itself at a speed lower than Earth? Because when we travel from New York to Rome, Rome would have rotated faster than the airplane, and it would take 24 hours to get to Rome. Rome to New York would only take 4 hours because their direction is from the east to the west at a speed of 500 miles per hour, and the Earth is rotating from the west to the east at the speed of 1,000 miles per hour. New York travels towards the airplane and it shortens the traveling distance. If Earth were really round, this is how traveling by plane would turn out. NASA, if you want to discover the full truth, you have to look at the facts. That's when you will discover 100% of the truth. A test that proves true Earth. A plane in the equator and a plane in the south. Both planes traveling from the west at the same time, same height and same speed around Earth. If the Earth is round, the plane in the south sky will come faster to the destination because the south has shorter rotation than the equator. If the Earth is flat, the plane on the equator will travel fastest than the plane of the south because the plane of the equator has a smaller rotation than the south. With two planes, it is proven that the Earth is flat. NASA, don't waste too much time. Put this strategy to the test to learn the truth of the Earth where we all live in. The moon. The moon is seen in two colors, white and black. What is the black part of the moon, and where does the moon get this color from? Many years ago, science has said that it is the moon's mountains that create shade from the sun. Today, science says otherwise. There has been 2 moons around the earth that have emerged with one another, and 1 moon was created. This is the black part of the moon today, according to science. What does the black of the moon have to do with the union of the 2 moons? Who has seen 2 moons around Earth? Where is the evidence that no one has seen? The first theory wasn't believable enough to you. How is it that we can trust the second theory? The reason why your theories have failed is because the black light that is created on the moon has a different theory. In addition to the sunlight is another light that illuminates the space. The planets, the moon, the earth receive a reddish color from this light. This light that takes over, it reflects on one another. The flat land has 3 times more water on its surface than land. The water on the surface of the earth is seen in white. The land that is above the sea level is seen as a red light. The light that the earth has reflects on the moon. The black part of the moon takes the same reflection as Earth has. If you look closely at the moon when it is full, the stains on the moon are seen as the 6 continents on Earth. The rotation of the moon around the Earth, the black part of the moon rotates and reflects the same as the continents on Earth because the black part of the moon is the shadow of the light on Earth. The mighty light of the sun covers every other light in space, which only the sunlight is seen. This is the truth of the moon and its black spots. Understanding the moon and dealing with its study, you would understand everything in our space because the moon verifies many things. Asking all the astronauts that have been to the moon, is the Earth seen from the moon as a new Earth or an old Earth, as we see the moon from the Earth as a new moon or an old moon? If the Earth were truly round, surely the new Earth and the old Earth from the moon would be seen. Unfortunately, this does not happen. Does the Earth give a strong light to the moon as the moon gives to the Earth? The answer is no, because the moon is above the flat Earth. The flat Earth has no chance in giving the moon light. From the moon, we can see the Earth's water blue. During this, we can also see the continents in the same form as they are. From the moon, we see the white clouds. From this, we can also see Earth beneath the moon as we have a view from the airplane. This clear view that the Earth is being seen from the moon shows that the moon is quite close to Earth. We cannot see the land part of the moon from the Earth. We can only see it as a light. The moon is very close to the sun, and it is above the flat Earth. The eclipse of the Earth. Science says, the Earth orbits around itself at 1,000 miles per hour. The moon orbits slowly around the Earth, and it is fulfilled in 29 days. The sun does not move because everything rotates around it. When an eclipse happens, how is it possible that the moon begins to cover the sun with its eclipse from the west? Everyone living on Earth are rotating from the east at 1,000 miles per hour. The moon is between the Earth and the sun. In this case, the moon should start covering the sun from the east, not the west. The moon's shadow that falls on the Earth also should start from the east to the west. This would be the eclipse in the around Earth if the Earth was actually rotating at 1,000 miles per hour. When the moon begins to cover the sun from the west, it confirms a flat Earth. The sun rotates around Earth at a speed of 1,000 miles per hour. The moon rotates at 950 miles per hour. The Earth rotates at 70 miles per hour. The sun, the moon, the Earth rotate from the west. Us that we are on Earth, we rotate slowly with the Earth. The moon that is between the Earth and the sun, will be seen covering the sun from the west and goes towards the east. The sun that is above the moon passes the moon with its fast speed. The shadow of the moon that reflects on Earth begins from the west and goes towards the east. NASA: this is the flat Earth that confirms 100% the practice of the eclipse. The eclipse of the moon on September 27, 2015. In the case that the round Earth covers the moon's sunlight, the moon would need 2 extra days to go around Earth. When the moon isn't completely full, the moon isn't behind Earth to make an eclipse. On September 27, 2015, when the eclipse happened, the Earth was not between the moon and the sun. The moon became full 2 days after, which would confirm the real date of the eclipse of September 29, 2015. The same situation happened 3 years later in Europe on July 27, 2018. The moon was full on July 25, 2018. This date should have been the real date for the eclipse. When the eclipse happened on the 27th, the Earth was no longer between the moon and the sun because the moon had 2 days that it passed Earth. NASA: when the eclipse of the moon happens, without the moon being 100% full, it would determine that the round Earth was not between the moon and the sun because the sun overlooks at the moon when the Earth is not between them. This is why your theories are very wrong. Another interesting fact about the eclipse. When the moon is behind Earth, the sun's light does not fall on the moon. Where does the moon get the red color that is under the darkness of the Earth without the sun's light? Science says that the light of the sun going from east to the west of the dark side of the Earth looks red, which makes the moon red. Science does not understand its wrong theories. If this were true, we would see the moon red around itself when the moon covers the sun's light from Earth with the eclipse. Same as the Earth and the moon when they are facing the sun. They would both be seen as red. Even the shadow that the moon gives off to Earth would give off a red light on Earth. How is it that the darkness of the Earth becomes red when the moon doesn't release a shadow? Or can we say whatever we want about Earth because nobody has a chance to see its shadow? NASA: the red color that is seen on the moon has a different theory to why it is. The real theory of this is different. Before the sun's light, it's a different light that gives off a light in space. The moon and the planets take up a red color from this light. As the moon orbits around the Earth, the moon itself goes over into darkness for a couple of hours, which the moon is seen red in the darkness of the sun, because the moon is actually red before the sunlight reflects on it. This is the reason why the moon is seen as red without the sun's light. NASA: the sun on a flat Earth gives 13 hours of light and 11 hours of darkness, and the moon goes over on the sun's darkness with its eclipse, which then makes the moon appear red. The size of the moon and the Earth. On August 21st, 2017, America had an eclipse. The moon, 4 times smaller than Earth, made the entire state of North Carolina dark. The round Earth, 4 times larger than the moon. Science says that the darkness of the Earth covers the moon completely with an eclipse and the moon is seen red. Science never understands their failures. Based on the size of the moon with the Earth, we would see on the moon the shadow of the Earth 4 times bigger than the moon makes its shadow on Earth. This is the formula of the eclipse between the Earth and the moon with the sizes they have with one another. NASA: the moon is 500 and more times bigger than North Carolina. The Earth being 4 times bigger than the moon, the Earth would make its own shadow on the moon 4 times bigger than North Carolina. The distance from the moon to Earth. Science says the sun is 109 times bigger than Earth. The moon is 33 Earths away from Earth. The fact is that the light of the sun that falls on Earth gives light to more than half of Earth's size. 13 hours of daylight for one part and 11 hours of darkness on the other part. Let's try to confirm the light and darkness of Earth. The dark part that the Earth creates behind itself, it is as far from Earth equivalent to 3 Earths. When the moon's eclipse happens, how is it that the earth covers the sun from the moon? Because the moon is away from the darkness of the earth, equivalent to 30 other earths. The moon is always in the sun's light. Scientists of the eclipse, I ask you, where does the moon get the red color from? In this case, the moon is 33 Earths away from the darkness of the Earth. NASA, the sun that gives 13 hours of sunlight and 11 hours of darkness on the flat Earth, confirms the moon, which the moon is seen red on the darkness of the sun. The practice of the sun's light and its size. The sun's light reflects on Earth for 13 hours, and the other side of the Earth remains in darkness for 11 hours. Science says the sun is 109 times larger than Earth. Let's do a practice to confirm the size of the sun and the distance between the sun and the Earth. Let's take a telescope. Place it on the ground, facing the sun. The sun takes 2.5 minutes to pass from one edge to the next of the telescope. Let's take a 10-inch globe to measure how much of the globe is 13 hours of light and how much of the globe is 11 hours in darkness. On the dark side of the globe, draw 2 lines on the globe, one left and one right. The lines should be 120 inches in distance, and then we should go around the globe with a different line to verify how many suns the Earth leaves behind with its rotation for 24 hours. Earth leaves behind 17 sun openings for 24 hours, when in reality it's supposed to leave behind 576 sun openings for 24 hours. Let's calculate the 17 suns that are around Earth times 2.5 minutes that the Earth passes by with the telescope that we put on the ground. That's 17 suns times 2.5 minutes equals 39 minutes and 1 second. This would be the time we would have each day on Earth, and not 24 hours. This is the formula and practice of the sun that is 109 times larger than Earth. NASA, the sun doesn't confirm the light that it reflects on Earth, nor the size of it that is 109 times bigger than Earth, nor the distance of 93 million miles that it has with Earth. The reason of the sun is different. The sun is one that gives 13 hours of sunlight and 11 hours of darkness on Earth. The sun is also so much smaller and closer to the flat Earth than they say. Airplanes that leave smoke behind. Airplanes that leave smoke behind confirm that the sun above Earth. Where we are, we can see the line of the white smoke far away from us. We can see the left and the right side of the line like an arch as if it's falling from Earth. Even the clouds are seen like a big umbrella. When we are on top of the smoke line with a different jet, the line of the smoke is seen straight, because the airplane is flying straight. Even the 3 airplanes that land at the airport confirm the sun above Earth. The first airplane that's landing is seen the highest above ground. The third airplane is so much higher from the ground, but is seen the lowest from the ground. The distance between the first and the third plane is 20 miles. The distance of the third plane from the ground is 4 miles. How is it that the third airplane is seen as if it's flat on the ground? Because all of these lines are straight lines above the ground. Us that we are on the ground, we are below the lines and we see the opposite of them with an arch as if they are landing. NASA, this is the verification of the sun that is seen with an arch with a sunrise and a sunset. The truth of the sun. The sun gives 13 hours of light and 11 hours of darkness. The sun is a planet and it is made up of soil and rocks like all other planets. The sun transforms the light it receives from other planets and it returns it much stronger than the light it receives from them. The sun is created with 2 reasons. Half of the sun that goes towards Earth is in darkness and the other half that goes up is in light. The sun is below the planets and the light that it takes from the other planets it takes only half of what the sun is. And that is why the sun reflects 13 hours of light and 11 hours of darkness on Earth. This is the position that the sun has with the Earth and the planets. NASA. This is the sun's light that never dies for as long as there are planets around the giant Earth. One example that the moon and the planets confirm the real sun. The moon and the planets are half in light and half in darkness. Even the sun operates this way. The only difference is that it has very strong light within itself. The moon verifies the sun's light with its own light. The moon is made up of soil and rocks. The sun's light gives light to the surface of the moon. What if the moon's light was twice as strong? The moon's light would be equivalent as the sun's light. How is it possible that the moon that is made up of soil and rocks can create this strong light? Even the sun is a planet that is made up of soil and rocks. The only difference it has is that it has a stronger light. NASA, the moon confirms that the sun's light with its own light that the moon gives light from the soil and rocks. The proof of the sun's heat. With the help of a mirror, we redirect the light of the sun inside a house. Does the sun's light produce heat? Yes. Inside the house, we redirect with a second mirror at another room inside the house. Does the redirected light with the second mirror produce heat inside the second room? Yes. If the sun were a big ball of fire, the light of it would produce the light, but not the heat. Why? Because the mirror reflects just the sun's light, not the heat of the sun. This is the proof to discover the real sun. The sun has a strong light, and this strong light itself has heat, which makes up the real sun, and it's only 300 degrees. Science says the sun is 17 million degrees. How is it possible that the sun looks red from east to west? The light that the sun takes from the planets, it pulls from the surface of itself much stronger than it would on its sides because the planets are above the sun that gives light to the sun. The sides of the sun start to become red until it becomes dark completely from the center of it towards the earth. Us that we live on earth, we're below the sun. When we pass from the sun's light towards the darkness, we see the red color of the sun in the west until we cannot see the sun's light anymore for 11 hours because then we have gone completely on the dark side of the sun. NASA, everything is discovered in our space. If you could understand the practice of all of this, that is the truth of the sun. During the day, we can see the sun's light crystal. Wherever we are on earth, either east or west, we would see the sun white, not red, because the sun is 17 million degrees white light around it. The sun and the planets confirm a flat earth. When the sun is on the south side, the sun cannot be seen with an arch around Antarctica on the outside of it. When the sun is on the north side, the sun is seen with an arch around North Pole on the outside of it. The sun is seen completely different in the north. If the earth were truly round, with both north and south pole, the sun would be seen the same with its arch that it makes around earth. With a flat earth, it is very easy to understand the sun. When the sun is on the north side, its rotation around the North Star is smaller and it is seen with an arch on the outside of the North Pole. When the sun is on the south side, it's much further from the North Star in the south, and the sun is seen with an arch around the inside of Antarctica. Antarctica is all around Earth and is ending of the Earth, which does not have a North Star. Antarctica is on the outside of the rotation of the sun. The North Pole is in the center of the Earth, that the Earth rotates around itself, and it has the North Star in space. NASA, this is the truth of the North Pole and the South Pole, that the sun is seen different with the arch of it. Time on Earth. Science says, Earth that rotates it within itself separates time on Earth. Hours, minutes, seconds, and 24 hours. And 1 year from another. The Earth rotates within itself 365 times and rotates around the sun for a full year. For 3 years in a row, the earth stops straight with the sun, which the year closes and a new year begins. How is it that the 4th year has an extra day from the other 3 years at 366 days? In case that the earth doesn't end its year where it begins the year, the planets that are seen straight with the earth every year with the same month wouldn't be these planets. They would be other planets because every 4 years, earth would leave behind itself the angle of the sun where the year began. The sun is the one that separates time on earth. With its rotation, the sun separates time on earth. And the sun with the planets separates 1 year from the other year. For 24 hours, the planets rotate faster than the sun by 4 minutes. For 1 year, the planets rotate faster than the sun by 24 hours. The planets rotate faster than the sun by 24 hours and the sun moving up and down. 6 months south, 6 months north for a year. On December 25th, the sun meets in the south with the same planets that it started its year with. The planets rotate 364 times a year. The sun rotates 365 times a year. On the 4th year, the planets and the sun rotate a day extra than the other 3 years, which calculate the 4th year to have 366 days. On December 25th, nights start getting shorter and days start getting longer. For 1 month, nights start shortening by 40 minutes and days get longer by 20 minutes. For 6 months, nights start shortening for 4 hours, days get longer by 2 hours. On around Earth, how is it possible that the darkness of the Earth gets shorter more than the light of the Earth? Around Earth that has the sun's light in front and the darkness that it is behind Earth either get longer or shorter the same time on Earth. The darkness that is behind Earth does not get smaller or bigger. It simply stays the size it already has. The sun that takes light from the planets confirm the darkness and the light on Earth. On December 25th, the sun is on the south side. The darkness that the sun gives to Earth, it gives that darkness more towards the north side. The sun lets out its light towards the south side and around Antarctica. When the night starts to shorten and the days get longer, the sun is turning back towards the north. The darkness of the sun that is on Earth goes down towards the south and the darkness starts to open around Antarctica. The sun's light comes from the north and the light starts to close because the light is going towards the middle of Earth. This is the reason why the darkness opens more than the light on Earth. NASA, the sun is one that gives light and darkness to Earth. 13 hours of sunlight and 11 hours of darkness. Mars is seen during the day. Mars is the 4th planet from the sun. The rotation that it makes around the sun for 6 months, it goes far away from Earth, equivalent to 430 suns away from Earth. Mars is on the other side of the sun with the Earth. How can Mars be seen during the day in the middle of the Earth and the sun? With this position and the distance that the Mars and the Earth have between one another, Mars can never be seen during the day because the sun's light shines on Mars with the light. We would only see Mars during the night for no more than 3 months out of the year. The other 9 months, Mars is on the sun's light side with the Earth, which is very far from Earth. For 9 months, we would never have the chance to see Mars during the day. Confirmation of Mars during the day. On December 25th, Mars is very close to the sun, which stops the sun from going any further towards the south. The sun takes 6 months to come back to the north. Mars comes to the north from the east. 6 months later, on June 25th, Mars is close to the sun and also stops the sun from going towards the north. The sun once again takes 6 months to go back to the south. Mars goes down towards the south on the west side of the sun. As Mars moves 6 months towards the north and 6 months towards the south, it completes its rotation around Earth, the North Star, and the sun for 1 year. Mars is above the flat Earth and is very close to the Earth, which can be seen during the day. It is the second closest planet to Earth, and it comes after the Moon. It is the only planet that rotates around the sun, and it is a planet of the sun that it commands the sun in space with the gravity that they have between each other. NASA, this is the reason why Mars is seen during the day, because Mars rotates around a flat Earth. The North Star. All the planets move in space besides the North Star. If Earth were round, we would see the North Star moving a month out of the year because the Earth is straight vertically with the North Star. As for the other 11 months, Earth moves far away from the North Star with the rotation it makes around the Sun. In this case, the North Star would have moved within 11 months because the Earth does not rotate with the North Star around the Sun. I had left the telescope in place, looking straight at the North Star for a full year. The North Star does not move from its place because all the millions of planets that are in space rotate around the North Star and the giant Earth. The North Star is in the middle of all the planets in space in the straight line vertical with the North Pole. The North Pole is the center and the middle of Earth, where Earth rotates around itself below the North Star. The North Star does not stand a chance at moving at all throughout the year. NASA, this confirms why the North Star does not move. Science says there are millions of other suns in space. We can only see the light of the planets from Earth. If there were other suns in space, we would only see the strong light of the sun and not the light of the planets because the sun's light is 17 million times stronger than the light of the planets. NASA, it is not clear to us to understand where the other suns are in space. There is only one sun in our space, which is the one that we see every day. All the millions of planets that are around the giant Earth get their light from the sun. We can all see this light from Earth. NASA, we only see the light of the planets, not the light of the other suns. Shooting stars. Science says stars lose their gravity and crash against one another. Spend one night outside for 8 hours and you will see about 100 shooting stars. There are 200 other shooting stars during the day that cannot be seen. For 24 hours there are 300 shooting stars. There are 300 other shooting stars that crash with other stars. For 24 hours you have 600 stars that are crashing against one another. Now ask yourself, how many stars are there actually crashing against one another for a year? NASA, this isn't proof of our stars. The truth of the shooting stars. Stars are the furthest of any other from Earth. Those stars that lose their gravity rotate very fast around Earth. A shooting star is seen as a lit white line in space from the great speed of it. When the strength of the stars and the gravity is the same with each other, that's when the stars stop completely. There is no star crashing in space. Only a great fast speed of stars around the planets happen. Nothing more. NASA, this is the truth of our stars. Earth would be dead without the moon, the sun, the planets, and the stars, because all of these benefit Earth in order to have a life on it. No one should ever think that there is life in other planets. Before many years, science says that there was life in other planets, but it has yet to be discovered, and it will never be discovered. All the planets that our eye can see in space rotate around the giant Earth, and they don't stand a chance at creating life on Earth. Science thinks there are billions of other galaxies in space. There is only one galaxy, which is Earth, its planets, and the stars that rotate around Earth. NASA, let me remind you how far science has gone into space. In case that you went all the way to Mars, Mars is very close to the flat Earth. There are billions and billions of stars and planets behind Mars around the giant Earth. These planets and the stars that rotate around Earth, you call them other galaxies. This is what they seem like to you because the great distance they have from Earth are seen as if they are actually our other galaxies. The end of space that surrounds us is up until the shooting stars are. Outside of this space above the shooting stars is a big mystery to all of us. The space that surrounds us is God's creation, and He's the only one that knows. We are very small, and we don't stand a chance at going outside that space that surrounds us. We can try to discover these planets for our own knowledge because this is what we're meant to do. In case that someone before us was mistaken, was because that's all the knowledge that they had. It would be said that we live in a world full of theories. If we cannot change these theories, we will never be able to correct them. This is why you, NASA, are supposed to first change your lives in order to change the life of many others. We have to speak the truth in life. You only speak on the theories and ideas of those before us that are dead today, like Galileo, Einstein, and many others like them. These names should have gotten the proper acknowledgement because they tried to discover space and Earth but weren't able to. Their lives back then weren't as developed as today. Today it's the 21st century and everyone understands the theories of Earth, whether it's a round Earth or a flat Earth. NASA, you have the benefit of having the proper astronomers for yourself. You are saying the opposite and protecting everything else. The country believes in you. That is why they donate and give money to research. You are the ones that report to this country what it is in space. If the country would actually discover and understand that Earth is flat, what would happen then? Then you would not be able to carry on. There are billions of dollars being spent from this country going to NASA and schools each year, which they have not yet learned the truth where we live on. NASA, with the gift of God that He gave us for all of us to live in, you have turned that gift into the quote-unquote Big Bang. What really is the Big Bang? Absolutely nothing but a big lie, which nothing comes out of that, and as a result is just a bunch of big zeros. How is it that we can believe that everything was created from the Big Bang? No one truly knows that creation because that is all God's work and will remain that way. We are very small because humans were created centuries after Earth. When the first person that was created opened their eyes, the first thing they saw was that he was on a land. This is the truth of our life. How is it that one of our human beings can know the creation of space and Earth? Thoughts are simply just thoughts and should never be mistaken for what reality really is without proof, because there will come a day that all of these thoughts start to shatter. NASA, I've been working and studying the field of astronomy in private for the past 37 years. All the proofs that are made for the gravity, water, airplanes that fly over us, the black part of the moon, the eclipse, the sun, Mars that is seen during the day, the North Star that does not move, and all the planets that rotate around Earth confirm the Earth is flat. NASA, I'll give you an example to help you understand. Who creates the first light in space which the sun takes light from? Some secrets for Earth and space are my rights to not tell it all right now. When you learn this information from me, you will be shocked about the light of the true sun that will never end for as long as there are planets around the giant Earth. NASA, it's not because I want to contradict you. When someone contradicts something that has yet to be discovered, he has to first find proof and facts to bring down the old theories. I am the one that will bring down the old theories the science has about Earth and space. In case that you do not believe that Earth is flat, I'll call out the scientists for a meeting to discuss all the facts. I am the one that will bring down your theories and ideas. Don't look at me for who I am, but only for what I have to say. NASA, you think that you will lose your business by accepting the truth. You should never be scared of the truth. The practice of our lives shows that whoever accepts the truth in life, it's wise and an honor for all. You will still be where you are, but with different theories on where we actually live on. We will be closing my video with this. I thank you all from my heart for tuning in and listening. With all respect to NASA and their workers, from John Zogel.